We have a lot of retired viewers who write in asking for what sort of investment they should use given the fact that the market is so volatile. I want to talk about the Senior Citizen Savings Scheme. It's one option that retired viewers have that they should definitely use. Let me bring in Dhirendra Kumar. Dhirendra, thank you for joining us. Let's talk about the Senior Citizen Savings Scheme. Now, it's one option to use a mutual fund and attempt to beat inflation. But a lot of our retired viewers don't need to beat inflation, and this scheme generates 9.3% per year. How important is it for seniors to take advantage of this option before they try out anything else?
I think for all those people who have no other source of income, and if you have accumulated 10-15 lakh rupees and you will be dependent on that income in a very significant way, or that you will be completely dependent on that income, then for those investors I think it should be the first choice, simply because 9% is a good return. Leave aside beating inflation or the taxability. Of course, if this is going to be your sole source of income, then the taxation doesn't matter. Then the safety of it is very, you can't get anything more safe than this. So 9% and absolute safety. If you have no other source of income, it is a good vehicle. If this happens to be a supplementary source of income, if you have a pension income, you have income from other sources, rental income or whatever, then you need to worry about. If you happen to be in the highest tax bracket, then you need to plan things a little better.
But Dhirendra, the scheme has a 5-year lock-in. Will this be a hurdle for seniors who might have put in their entire pension corpus and then might need money in an emergency? Is that something they should consider before they choose this investment?
Yes, one should look at this investment purely as a source of income, so as a source of periodic income, and you depend on that. If you happen to be in, if this happens to be the sole source of income, then it could be quite, it will be very useful. But if, it should not be used for any other purpose. If you are in the highest tax bracket, you need to plan things a little better. If you are likely to need this money sometime for an emergency, this may not be the finest choice.
Well, let's talk about the taxation then. The interest earned on this scheme is taxable as an income, although the money you put in as a principal comes under ATC, so that's tax deductible. So if there's a senior watching who's in the highest tax bracket, should they still use this option, or should they be looking at something in equity which is tax-free after 1 year?
Maybe, maybe not. It depends. A lot of, if you are very old and you just don't want to take any chances, you would want an investment without any headache, whatever be the tax implication, by all means, it might be a very useful thing. You can't get anything more safe than Senior Citizen Savings Scheme, and a reasonably good return, 9% without any headache. So that is useful. But if you are looking at today, investors have some option. Investors seeking willing to assume some risk, they should consider, if you don't depend, those options are open only for those investors who do not depend on this income which you intend to derive from this. So balanced fund could be one way to protecting the worth of your capital, and but you cannot bank on it for income. The other way of looking at it is, today there is a possibility that you can get a 8.5% tax-free bond. So that could be quite interesting. That could be, but of course, they are also reasonably safe. They are also well rated, but they are not as safe as the Senior Citizen Savings Scheme.
We have time to take one question from a viewer. Zaim has written in, he currently invests 2,500 rupees every month in IDFC Premier Equity Plan and the Birla Sun Life Frontline Equity Fund. These are excellent funds, Dhirendra. He wants to know if he's chosen the right funds and where you would recommend he invests another 5,000 rupees every month. He has a time horizon of 10 years. What would you recommend he does?
You have chosen good funds, and I would say that you go with our aggressive growth fund, given the time frame that you have, and these two funds are also part of our aggressive growth portfolio as well as growth portfolio, and these two portfolios also have 4 or 5 funds. So adding those two more funds, depending on your preference, both are suited vehicle. And I think the aggressive growth portfolio selection might 2 other funds might be useful.
All right, Dhirendra, many thanks for joining us on the show and answering our questions. If you have questions for Dhirendra, write to us.